Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of Carruthers and Leggetter and Whoever. Today we don't have a whoever because this is our first episode and we thought what better way to start than with one of our joint favourite films. It's Will's top of all time, isn't it?
We will move on to that because I've just done a rewatch and it's interesting how things have played out. It turns out it's no longer my favourite film.
Oh, well, where should we save that? We'll save that for overall. I don't know. We'll get to that later. I feel like it's an
interesting thing to build up to. It's breaking news.
Breaking news on the front. Yes, so most weeks we will have a special guest, hence the name, but this week it is just us two, and we're going to dissect film that sometimes we'll both love, sometimes I'll love, sometimes Will love, sometimes our special guest will love and bring to us, and sometimes we'll all hate. Maybe. It's. I don't know if it'll happen soon, but I'm sure it'll happen eventually. Now, each episode is going to be broken down. We've got 18 little questions and pros and comments ready, and they're going to stay the same each time. But before we get to them, Will, seen as this, well, not anymore, but seen as for a long time in your life, this was your favourite film. Would you like to introduce 1980s Airplane?
Stand by for the most extraordinary chain of events ever swept up into high adventure.
Hey, Larry, where's the forklift?
Forklift! It's over there for the baggage loader.
Airplane.
Well, Airplane is the greatest spoof film of all time.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. It's hilarious. It's like packed of gags, jokes. Like it's one of those films you watch it again and again, and you see something different every time. Do you enjoy? What are the movies that they made? They made Naked Guns as well.
So you've got the Zucker and Abrams trio.
Zaz, as I like to call them.
I believe, and Jerry and David Zucker and Jim Abrams, and basically they are from the Milwaukee area. The Zuckers originally, and they directed. They had a sort of underground comedy club called the Kentucky Fried Theatre, which then led to the film The Kentucky Fried Movie. And then, basically, their whole thing was making fun of commercials. And so, to get the funny commercials to make fun of, they would tape overnight the shitty film that they would leave on for the sort of 12 o'clock slot till 2 for the people, for the alcoholics and the depressives. And those would have the funniest commercials. One time, however, in the morning, they end up watching the film that got taped, which was called 0 Hour. And they found that they were laughing more at 0 Hour than they were at the commercials. And hence, Airplane was made. Airplane is basically a remake of 0 Hour, just with a lot of gags.
Hey, here's something we give our special visitors. Would you like to have it?
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You ever been in the cockpit before?
No, sir. I've never been up in a plane before.
How do you like it?
Swell.
Joey, we have something here for our special visitors. Would you like to have it?
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Sure. You ever been in a cockpit before?
No, sir. I've never been up in a plane before.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
And then onwards, they made Top Secret, which I really like, Val Kilmer. And then the Naked Gun trilogy.
Nice beaver.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
Let me help you with that.
Starring the incomparable unthawed James Simpson It is. Last movie role, I think, 3 3/4.
Yeah.
Because he was in Towering Inferno, and he was in Capricorn 1. Anyway, but yeah, no, and he is very good in those films.
It's probably one of the greatest on-screen movie deaths of all time.
Yes, it is great. And then they split, I believe, somewhere between the Naked Guns. And do you know what David Zucker's first solo outing was? It's a film that you wouldn't expect.
So not a comedy.
It's not. It has a comedic relief character in it who won a supporting actress award.
I would not know.
It was Ghost. He directed the movie Ghost.
With
Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore and Whoopi Goldberg, the most Jewish-sounding name for somebody who isn't Jewish in the world. Whoopi Goldberg. And then he made that, and then Jim Abrams went off and made the Hot Shots movies. But anyway, today we are talking about Airplane.
Yes.
Let's jump straight into it. Opening line, Hall of Fame. The white zone is for the immediate loading and unloading of passengers only. There is no stopping in the white zone. What a start.
The red zone?
Did you know?
It's wonderful.
Did you know, William Leggetter, that they are...
I'd love to know.
That they are an actual married couple, and they sell the equipment that is used in airports for those announce systems. And they used to do the real-life announcements for many American airports.
Wonderful.
It's a great start. Yeah.
Question for you, though.
Shoot.
Would you use the red zone or white zone? What's your go-to colour?
Well, I don't trust women who try and instruct me, so no, I'm kidding. I don't know. White zone?
The white zone is not for...
this
joke could continue.
Yeah. That was... No, let's play this out. Let's do this for 5 minutes. You've really... I'm sure you watched the film and you thought, oh no, this will be a great gag. This is going to go for 10 minutes.
I've run out of material, so it just drags out the the open. No, it is a wonderful opening line.
It's a great opening line, and then it's obviously distorted. Great abortion. I know what you're talking about. You are talking about the abortion. Best YouTube comments. There weren't that many really, really funny ones. It was a lot of this movie's great. It was. I know this is the first time we are doing technically our first episode. Spoilers, everybody. We did actually record an episode before this as a test, which you'll be seeing later on the brilliant film When Harry Met Sally. But this is technically our second episode, but technically our first.
They don't need to know that.
It's true. It's mainly just people quoting the film or doing, oh, look at me, I'm so clever. Did you notice this? Let's all take a moment and realize that this was rated PG. Yeah, it was originally rated PG. This is a film with cocaine, breasts, great little pop in and pop out. This is the thing. I don't know if it's a PG, but I definitely say it's a 12.
Well, we can talk about this in the what would we change section later on in the show.
Oh, what's your hot take? Have you got a hot take for what's the change?
Well, I think we should just bring up the fact that it is quite dated.
No, we'll get to that later. I'm going to okay. We'll break that down. Because this is like Gremlins. Now, when you buy the Gremlins DVD, it's a 15. There's no way Gremlins should be a 15.
Gremlins should be a U.
Yeah, my children will be shown Gremlins from a very
They will be
age.
Forced to watch Gremlins.
Sit and watch. I watched Shining very young, and I'm fine. I remember Shawshank Redemption. and it's, you know, the family favorite film. We're going to get to it later. I believe it's episode 10 planned already, but it's penciled in. And it came on Channel 4, and we all sat around, and even my sister, and I think I was like 7, and Isabel was like 5. So my mum was on the wavelength that Isabel just wouldn't get it at all, and so it'd be okay, and it would all go over her head. But she was like, "Oh no, Tom can watch it because it's a really good film, and he should watch good films." And so, and then it came on Channel 4. Viewers should be advised, strong language and frequent violence throughout. And my dad went, "Sarah, turn it off. It's not right. It's not right. You shouldn't be watching it." And then new fish scene where they beat up that fat guy. It's like, "You fucker, you motherfucker." And my dad's going, "Sarah, what are you doing? What are you doing, Sarah? This is our child." And, you know, it's worked out well. It's worked out well.
It explains a lot of things.
Well, yes. Best 10-minute stretch.
This was the hardest thing for me.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
I don't know. I think there's a period, the first half middle section when there's just a lot of gags.
Yeah. The sort of 20 minutes on solid on the plane.
When they first start finding out who's having the fish, that sort of area. I think that section's, well, just because it's the most full of gags, I think that, because that's what the film's about, that's my favourite 10-minute stretch.
You could say the same about the opening 10. I like the opening 10. Every character introduction gets a nice gag.
Yeah.
The opening 10, I think, is pretty solid. I like when we first leave the plane and we meet Lloyd Bridges in the communication tower with his cigarettes and his alcohol, and then we meet Robert Stack, and we go to his house and the dog mauls. And the mirror gag may be my favourite gag. Oh no, it's not.
Really?
I know what my favourite gag is. We'll get to it.
We sure will.
Best 10-minute stretch. I think both of those options are pretty solid. I think, and I know I watched it with the commentary track again earlier this morning.
Of course.
And I think the final half hour is still impeccably tight, but I think it's a testament to the brilliance of the first hour that the last half an hour seems slow.
It's easier to get distracted from the telly in the last half hour.
Well, that's easy to say when you're watching it with your girlfriend. When you're sat alone and you're watching it twice in one day, there's no reason to get distracted because there's nothing else. Tom's weirdly specific favourite part of the film. I've got 4. The introduction of Captain Over, where he's at the magazine stand and we see whacking material, and then what magazine is he reading?
Oh, it's Modern Sperm.
Modern Sperm is correct.
Called Modern Sperm. It's wonderful, isn't it? And then there's a phone call, the white courtesy phone. So I go over and I pick up the red phone, I think. And a voice says, "No, the white phone." After that line, the script supervisor laughed at that out loud. And it appeared on the soundtrack. And I thought they would take it off, but they didn't. They left it in. I think it added to the picture.
And then the red phone, no, the white phone. I think that's that's a great little bit.
It's wonderful.
The smile on Otto, where it cuts to the during the fellatio, suggested fellatio scene. And then the cigarette in his mouth after. I love eye patches in the bar. The extras in the club scene.
Yeah.
The people they've cast. I don't think they cast them. They must have just pulled them from, I don't know,
they just turned up to an actual bar and filled it up.
Did you see that that clip where it was on Look North, and it was those elderly women, and they were and they were having like a dinner, and they were having an interview with this guy who had been kidnapped by pirates, like Somali pirates, and they just didn't know the difference, and they were all dressed like Shinami Timbers pirates.
Oh no!
And then it comes to them, and they go, "And we didn't know." And then there's the picture of the guy who's been traumatized for months with an AK-47 in his face with these 4 old women, each with an eye patch on. And my favourite part is counterpoint. They bought their tickets. I say, let them crash. I don't know what it is.
Wonderful.
It gets me every time.
Wonderful.
Will's more general favourite parts of the film.
I mean, if you'll permit me, I'll be more specific for the first time. I know I usually do have a broader knowledge of films where you have a very pinpointed, but with this, I'm just going to round off a few of my favourite lines.
Well, this is the thing. Is this podcast just going to be... This is the problem with talking about
quoting
Airplane.
the movie.
And it's a great problem to have, but this could very easily just become an hour of us going back and forth with these excellent gags. But go on.
You know what?
Your favourite gag.
I will enjoy that. Well, smoking or non-smoking.
That's
a wonderful gag.
Quiz question: When did you stop? In what year did they stop smoking on airplanes?
Oh, I want to say when they stopped smoking, 2007.
1990.
Close.
Yeah.
But no cigar. That I wanted to say that, but I thought that's a terrible pun.
Sorry, pun. That's just the phrase.
No,
but
smoking.
They're
literally. Yeah,
that would have been good. You should have gone for it.
I should have done it. I should have done it. We'll cut that out. We'll
take it again.
I think I wasn't expecting to laugh out loud at this point, but I think honestly my favourite part of the film is the bit where he goes up to one of the co-pilots and is like, "Sir, are you okay?" And he's like, "No, I'm not feeling too good." And then she just walks off.
She just walks away. That's a great scene. Well, that leads... Underrated part of this film is she's so underrated. I don't know her name. Let's give her some duty. Let's give her an actual name. I think it's Marie. It's definitely an M. She's the blonde is great. Yep. Lorna Patterson, completely wrong, not a Marie, playing the role of Randy. She's great because she then also has the brilliant
guitar.
The guitar's great, but I also like when she's crying to Leslie Nielsen and she goes, "I'm 26 and I've never been married." And then
the wife comes along. Yeah. At least I've still got a husband.
Yeah, at least I have a husband. It's just excellent gags.
I'd say another one of my favourite gags. It's very, very quick, but I just love it when she wakes up in bed with the horse.
Well, I have that as a whole note. I want to break this down. I want to really break down what's happening in their relationship because he's just a pedophile.
They get through a lot of juice. That's all. Yeah. Plenty of juice in the fridge.
She's a pedophile. He's a pedophile, and she is a beastie. What's the term for bestiality-ist?
I don't. Well, let's. That's one for the viewers. Email us in.
Email us in if you know what a bestiality. That'll on the Woody Allen fortnight when we'll finally watch Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex But Were Too Afraid to Ask. We'll get to the excellent Gene Wilder sketch in that film where he falls in love with the sheep. Great stuff. Gene Wilder's best performance. Go on. Have you got any more of your favourite gags, or was it the horse?
The horse is pretty great. I'm not gonna lie.
What's the better horse in a bed? This or Godfather?
This. What? I'll ask you this question, Tom. What's more horrifying? A severed head of a horse in the bed, or a woman sleeping with a horse?
I don't think the woman's sleeping with the horse. I think the horse is sleeping with her. I don't know how you get to. I don't know how you.
I think
tackle
it's her choice. I think.
Yeah. What would that be? It's not riding side saddle. It's riding. It's of a whole different variety. What's that? That's from this, and I've watched it this morning. What's the gag that I'm trying to do? It's a whole different kind of flying altogether. It's a whole different kind of riding altogether. We'll get to that gag. The Oscar travesty. This comes to the classic comedy argument when it comes to Oscars. Is this... Do comedies... Would this seem out of place as a Best Picture nominee?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't get nominated now. But for the time it was made, it was so cutting edge. It was like the post-Watergate sort of humour when Saturday Night Live. I'm thinking of Friday Night Dinner. I just watched that. Saturday Night Live, that sort of thing. That sort of humour was just emerging, and I think for what it did, I think it at least deserved. I don't know about an Oscar, but
yeah, some critical
but not a Razzie.
Recognition.
Not a Razzie. Yes.
Yeah, not a Razzie. Well, this leads us to the 1980 comedy thing. In this year, you've got a sort of turning point, and it didn't last too long because it was really just the Zaz team that kept this sort of thing going. But you've got the two big comedies that year are Caddyshack and this, and Caddyshack sort of bombed that first year because people kept watching Airplane. And Caddyshack was still in the vein of your 70s. Let's just improv everything. Let's just get coked up and have a laugh.
Better than Bill Murray to do that?
Yeah. Oh, I love Caddyshack.
I want to go back.
Episode is penciled in. Yeah, no, Caddyshack's great. But this is improvised is not the word at all. Every gag. And this was quite revolutionary, as stupid as it sounds. It was revolutionary for a comedy in this period to have such a structured script. And it's because they didn't hire comedic actors.
Like,
Julie Haggerty
leads us on to Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah. All of these are famous, serious actors. Robert Stack from The Untouchables and the wonderful film Written on the Wind. Great stuff. Lloyd Bridges, star of lots of sci-fi stuff. Peter Graves, Mission Impossible. You know, all of the... And Leslie Nielsen was in Return from the Forbidden Planet.
Was Police Squad pre-Airplane? Or
no, Police Squad TV series was 82.
Because the interesting thing
Top
about
Secret
that
was 84. And then the Naked Gun trilogy was 89 to 94.
Because you say that the way that they wrote the jokes, they were so precise and well rehearsed. That it didn't work with Police Squad. It obviously does work, but it didn't seem to for audiences because they had to stop it because there were too many jokes and people just weren't getting it.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah.
Airplane is drama.
This is Dr. Brody at the Mayo Clinic. There's a passenger on your Chicago Flight 209, a little girl named Lisa Davis, en route to Minneapolis. She's scheduled for a heart transplant. I want you to make sure that she's kept in a reclined position and that a continuous watch is kept on her IV.
They always used to say that there is a moment in all of our films where there's like 3 minutes of lesser jokes, and that's your wee time, because they're so jam-packed. I think this is one of the better films that DVD has done a service for. The rewatchability factor, because you talk about Lawrence of Arabia, and obviously that's disserviced on a DVD. It doesn't matter if you have the Blu-ray, doesn't matter if you've got a massive TV. You will never experience Lawrence of Arabia until, I know that sounds like a typical movie buff, annoying thing to say, but on a big screen, that film is a wholly different experience. Yeah. It's actually enjoyable for a start. I'm not a big I never used to like it, and then I forced myself to go into the cinema to see it because I was like, oh, well, this is supposed to be excellent. Anyway, yeah, all very serious actors, and that's where the comedy comes from, because they're playing it deadpan. And originally, they passed it around everywhere, studio-wise, and every studio wanted to put it with Dom DeLuise and your Harvey Kormans and your comedy stars of the time. And that is just not the gag. That is not the gag at all. The gag is that they are desperately serious, and the lines just happen to be insane.
Like the line, oh, I think this man's a doctor. You a doctor? It's like, yes. It's even the I'm going to do it again. I'm going to quote the movie, Tom.
That's fine. I'll allow it.
The please don't call me Shirley.
It's a great line. I think
the greatest delivery of that line there will ever be.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Even that, maybe don't call me Shirley, and I'll have what she's having, are the two like famous comedic lines where they still have their effect when you watch the movie. When you think about the really, 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 really famous ones, I mean, I think they're the two most famous ones.
Yeah.
But they sometimes lose their effect when you're rewatching it. But those two never.
They're the lines that, like 10 minutes before, you look at each other and you think, oh, it's coming up, it's coming up, it's coming up. And when it happens, it gets better every time.
Yeah, sure, every time. Yeah. Will's favourite building / set. You've not got much choice this time.
I haven't. I'm going to go for the airplane.
Not LAX before they put the second floor in? No. Moving on to the next.
In particular, no, I'll get the cockpit. I like the cockpit. I think a lot of good dialogue, good scenes happen in there, and fantastic use of autopilot.
Otto.
Who gets his own credit.
Yes, he does. So does Charles Dickens.
And my favourite, the worst boy,
Adolf Hitler, which they used again in Airplane 2.
That is a shame.
Quite an embarrassing film. Yeah. Zaz wanted absolutely nothing to do with it, and they don't. And yeah, it's fine. There are some good gags in, but
no, I think cockpit. It was just that they were very creative with all the different buttons, the knobs, because no one's ever really seen inside of a cockpit, and it looks standard. But then they start going through everything. It's just a bit different, isn't it? And it's all you can do from a movie set in one place.
It's just, well, I Was Afraid of Virginia Woolf is pretty good.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a woman spitting out eggs, does it?
No, correct. I Was Afraid of Virginia Woolf has a lot of things, maybe some of the greatest performances and writing ever put to film, but it doesn't have a woman spitting out eggs. Well, let's do it here then, before we move on to some of the more specific categories. What's happened with your ranking?
What's happened? Well, nothing's changed about my appreciation for the film. I just realised when you sit down to a movie, I've based a lot of my picks on like nostalgia value. Do I enjoy it all the way through watching? Would I watch it again? Rewatchability. Obviously, Airplane ticks all those boxes. But I've realised there's just things that I'd rather watch. I remember Phil once told us, what if there's two movies on, you're stuck in a hotel room.
You're going to watch Con Air. Yeah.
You've got to watch Con Air. Because it's
Con Air's your new number one?
No.
I do love Con Air. Con Air, you're not going to get an argument about Con Air from me. What a film.
It's probably in the top 50. So do you want me to do the whole top 10?
Yeah, go on. I feel like we should, let's just do this now.
The first episode.
We'll do this now.
Yeah.
Because basically, we've noted down our top 10s, and we're aiming once every 5 or so to knock one off. Will's knocking out a bunch early on because we've got a guest star who's bringing in Paddington 2, which just so happens to be one of World's favourite films. And the same with Back to the Future, which again just so happens to be, well, it previously was number 2. Is this going to be your big reveal?
I mean, thanks for revealing it for me, but
sorry,
I'll have to change it now. It's Connor. It's Connor.
Connor.
No, my favourite film is Back to the Future.
Great choice.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Go
so
down the
number 1,
list.
we've got Back to the Future. 2, Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
3, Skyfall. I love Bond, and for me, it's the best Bond.
Better
4,
than your number 4?
That list was sent. It is better than Casino Royale. See, they're like that. Casino Royale is immaculate, but Skyfall got me.
No, Judi Dench. We should do a Judi Dench month.
We should.
What's the best Judi Dench film?
Cats.
Correct. A movie which ends inexplicably with Judi Dench telling us, remember, a cat
is
not a dog. Oh, because I forgot.
Wonderful.
I didn't know that. What a terrible film. That's one of my biggest regrets, that we watched it. Everybody at home, me, Will, and Lucy, who I'm sure will have on an episode, watched Cats on Christmas Eve morning in a packed cinema. And that's one of my biggest regrets, because I wish severely that we waited a couple of months and watched it with nobody there, and we could just shout things, because there was a point. I can't remember. I think it was Taylor Swift.
Well, when she came down on that big moon.
No, it was Idris Elba when he kept going every time he disappeared.
Oh,
he'd
yeah.
go,
Meow!
Cavity, meow. And I turned to Lucy and I went, what the fuck is happening? Is this a real film? But there were too many small children around for me to shout.
I mean, fair credit that there are 2 wonderful moments in that movie. The first one is Ian McKellen. Nothing more should be said.
That was great, yeah.
And also, the second greatest moment in that film is the sudden appearance of Ray Winston.
Yes. Why did that
It's such a wonderful surprise.
Yeah, everybody, the whole marketing was, we've got everybody in this movie. Did poor Roy Winston?
Albino twin.
Albino Roy Winston. Poor Ray Winston had to get sacked off. Apparently they couldn't fit it on the poster. Bloody hell, Ray.
Oh.
Meow, meow. Terrible. Anyway, I think we should do a Cats episode. We'll do a Cats episode. I really want to break that down.
I think we should.
Yeah, great, go on.
In the style of Paul Gambaccini, at number 4, we have
not
Sherlock Holmes.
Not in the style of...
we don't talk about Tony. No.
Tony Blackburn. Yeah, sorry, go on. Did I tell you about the Freddie Mercury AIDS documentary I watched, where Paul Gambaccini came on and he said, I talked with Freddie and I said, Freddie, you gotta watch out for this AIDS. And Freddie looked at me and he said, darling, I'm doing everything with everybody. And then he suddenly gets a tear in his eye and he goes, I should have known then.
Oh
no! Is this supposed to be upsetting? Anyway, yes, sorry, enough about Paul Gambaccini and Roy Winston.
At number 4, we have Sherlock Holmes by Guy Ritchie. Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah,
it's very good. Number 5, About Time, my favourite rom-com. Number 6.
Class Back to the Future? No, because the Jennifer stuff is really in the second one. Yeah.
Number 6. This is where we get a little chunk of animated movies. Number 6 is Chicken Run.
Oh, Mel Gibson.
Yeah. Yes. At 7, we've got the best Pixar movie, Ratatouille.
Monsters Inc. Oh,
Ratatouille. At 8, the second best Pixar movie, The Incredibles.
Monsters Inc. Oh.
Number 9, Paddington 2. I cannot fault the movie, and it's just wonderful. And you'll love this. And number 10, When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, wonderful! That's good news. That's great stuff. When Harry Met Sally is great. I like, unlike Will, to build tension. So I'm going to go 10-1. 10, Is The Apartment, the wonderful Shirley MacLaine film. 9, Titanic. Titanic, when I was a child, was like number 3. And
Really?
and there was a period in my life where it didn't appear in my top 10. And I feel as if I've been lying to myself all this time, because Titanic is at least number 9.
Wonderful movie.
Titanic's great. Perfect. And you know what also? Fed up of people saying it's not good. And
people do that because they don't want to follow the norm. Because it is such a great movie and everyone says, oh, it's one of the greatest movies of all time. It's because it is. Yeah. But people want to be like, oh, no, but I like an outsider. It's just great.
The only bit, like, people are like, the old woman stuff isn't good. The only bit that hasn't aged well is Rose going, I felt like I was on a slave ship traveling at my own expense. Go, oh, come on, Rose. And then later on in the film, she then says again, I felt like a slave. Or is that James Cameron, why you put 2 slave references next? Final scene should have just been, I felt like I was a slave again as I was on that boat. That turns into Ruse. Number 8, The Graduate. Brilliant film. Wonderful. Number 7, When I Met Sally, which we will get to. Number 6, Terms of Endearment, Shirley MacLaine again. Make you laugh, make you cry. My mum will probably have to join us for that episode. She wants to do Grease as well.
Oh, what should we do a sing-along version?
The sing-along. Have you watched the sing-along version?
No, let's make the podcast sing-along.
Oh, well, I do. Well, and I do me drag. There Are Worse Things I Could Do Again as Amanda Whitfield. Move, you good plague bitch. I think without context, that can just stay there.
Yep.
Godfather Part 1 and Part 2. The only tie.
Interesting. You haven't chosen a favourite. I mean, they are both wonderful films.
Oh, I do. I have chosen a favourite. It's Godfather. But I'd have to kick off The Apartment.
Right. Okay. I'll let you keep The Apartment.
Thank you. Are we having a divorce? I'll let you keep The Apartment. Boogie Nights. Great. Just great. It's my big dick. I'm ready to shoot now. It's worth it for that line alone. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Silence of the Lambs, and Shawshank Redemption. So, lucky viewer, you'll get to hear about all of them very soon.
I think we're doing Silence of the Lambs next week.
No. Next week is La La Land.
We're not doing Silence of the Lambs for a long time, as it turns out.
We are doing it on the 6th of May, but lucky for you, but viewer, you won't see it until the 6th of July. To peek behind the curtain like the Wizard of Oz, we're going to front load a few whilst we're in the quarantine. For people who are wondering what time this is, it is mid-quarantine.
To be honest, I'm impressed it's taken us this long to talk about quarantine. I'm happy because a lot of stuff I see out at the moment, quarantine, isn't it? It's
well, by the time this episode gets released, it'll probably be over. Yeah, and anyway, back to the film that we're actually talking about. Yeah. Airplane. What's the best single minute? I've got Captain Over and Dr. Ramek. What's he called? Not Ramek. Dr. Hammock. Dr. Rumak. Do it at the exchange of, can you tell me when you can fly, when this plane's going to land? Not for another 2 hours. Can't you take a guess? Oh, sorry. Can't you take a guess? Well, not for another 2 hours.
You can't take a guess for others.
That is my favorite minute.
Captain, how soon can you land?
I can't tell.
You can tell me I'm a doctor.
No, I mean, I'm just not sure.
But can't you take a guess?
Well, not for another 2 hours.
You can't take a guess for another 2 hours?
No. I mean, we can't land for another 2 hours. Fog has closed down everything this side of the mountains. We've got to get through to Chicago.
It's also mine.
Oh, this is great.
Just-
This is why this is our first episode.
Yeah.
What wonderful, what a great synergy. Which leads us to what's the change? Go on then, let's have this out. Because I don't go on. Well, go.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't change it because that's then saying let's remake the movie with modern references.
No.
I think as we discussed earlier, the last half hour throw in a few more jokes. Why not?
Yeah.
Treat us. There's the odd reference to like TV shows and stuff from the 70s, the 80s. Yeah.
Do you not think, for me, that just adds to it? I don't know what it is, but it adds to that 1980 aesthetic. It would feel like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm rather.
Oh no, that is a
surprised.
wonderful. That's a great line.
I think, and actually, I think that because of Airplane, people know. I mean, I'm not a basketball person, and I'm sure that basketball fans would always know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is. But I think that Airplane has actually done some good for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's future longevity. Go on, what other gag? Because you've obviously got the reference to the coffee commercial, which my parents weren't alive to see.
I really don't like the line. Was it? That's the worst thing I've seen since
the Ronald Reagan movie.
The Ronald Reagan movie.
That's great.
No.
Would you prefer it? Would you prefer if they said it's the worst thing I've seen since Cats?
I would actually. I would.
We'll do an edit. Maybe it's because, and it's the problem you've got. They were very lucky with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, this is my music theory. This is why When I Met Sally is timeless, is because all the songs that they picked were already timeless.
Yeah.
Were from the 50s. You look at your rom-coms, and when they pick songs from that year, it's a gamble. And then suddenly, halfway through Maid of Honor, which I think is a fine film, you've got, and I'm gonna write you a love song. And you're like, oh, I remember this song. And then obviously you've got I feel
that's
my fingers.
I say that's probably the genius of Love Actually. They didn't make it. They actually wrote a timeless classic.
No, Forward into the Funeral. And then in Love Actually, he takes the piss out of it. And he goes, Christmas. And he's got his classic Bill Nye.
His hand.
It's not
Mary Berry
arthritis.
Mary Berry has the same thing.
Yeah, because I googled it. It's not arthritis. He's just
welcome to web. And, no, it's like lumps here that put pressure on the nerves. If anyone wanted to know, that's why if you watch Bake Off, Mary has her fingers crossed. She's not just feeling lucky.
That's not upset me. I'm sure she's all right.
At this time of great sadness, I'd like to personally wish Mary Berry the best of health.
And then in 2 months, when this episode actually gets released and she's unfortunately died, I'll have to put up warning. This was recorded years prior.
We'll have to dedicate this episode to
Mary Berry. I'm gonna dedicate it to her anyway.
At the beginning,
even if she's not dead. What's left from Will's notes?
What is left from mine?
Also, sorry. When you were going to say dated, I thought you were going to go for, I don't know, leaflet of Jewish sports now or Jive Talk. Well, we'll get to Jive.
Yeah. I haven't talked about Jive.
I can't remember where I've put it. It's in my favourites.
It's great.
Yeah. And obviously, I should mention the Zuckers and the Abrams are all Jewish. So they can make fun of the Jews.
That makes
they're
it
not
okay.
making fun of the Jews. But that's good. Anyway, go on.
Let's cut that bit out. A great line. Nervous? Yeah. Yes. First time? No, I've been nervous lots of times.
Great stuff. Where's that?
Wonderful.
Here's the game. It's like battleships. Next time, because I had nervous as a note. You have to order your notes or whatever. You can say them.
What?
If I have the same note, then you get another point. So you've got one note for nervous.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. This isn't a line. Is it only lines we want to do? Because
no, my notes are raining.
Well, I've got the Jaws reference right at the beginning.
I've got that it's a great. Oh, that's another thing.
Jaws, it sets the theme of the movie.
Yeah, in 1980, 75 was Jaws. It goes to my theory. Jaws was, even though it had only been around 5 years, it was already timeless and a classic, and they knew it always would be. It's not like them referencing, I don't know, Towering Inferno, and people now going, "Oh, what's this?" Go on, yeah.
We've got. I picked the wrong week to quit various things. We've got the autopilot and the wonderful shot of when he's being inflated and his head slowly turns.
Let me do one of my notes now. Elmer Bernstein's music. Incredible.
It's second on my list.
Underrated
Music,
score.
wonderful, I put.
Yeah.
A great score.
Every one of the themes. The disco I use at my quizzes all the time. The doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. I think it's an underrated score. Because nobody ever talks about it. When do you ever hear anybody say, "Oh, the score from Airplane"? Elmer Bernstein sort of got himself into a sort of comedy career, actually, near the end of his period, because he was known for his bombastic scores for Magnificent Seven, Bridge Over the River Kwai, I believe. But then he got picked for Animal House, which then led to this, which then led to Ghostbusters. He did the doom-ba-doom-ba-doom-ba-doom, ba-doom-ba-doom-ba-doom.
Oh, I mean, we've got to do Ghostbusters at some point.
Most certainly. Go on, keep going with your notes.
We've got fasten seatbelts, put down the seatbelts.
I've got, yeah. Yeah, go and sit down. Great stuff. Yeah, aged like a fine wine.
We've got the shit's gonna hit the fan.
Oh, you've messed up, Will. I didn't have shit's gonna hit the fan. It's a great gag, but I didn't have it. Go on.
I've got okay, boys, let's take some pictures.
Yep.
We've got I've got the cocaine woman whiskey man. Certainly not.
And then the weird
with like the
jingle. It's endorsing. I don't know. And then she obviously doesn't sniff any. The pipe goes straight past. She looks like Carol Kane.
Maybe it is. Maybe
it's not.
Oh.
Any other notes?
I've got the drinking problem.
Yeah.
We've got when they're playing the instruments in the cockpit.
Leslie Nielsen's very gentle with his cello.
We have. I'm sorry to bother you. We would have come earlier, but he wasn't dead then.
It is great.
The list goes on.
This is the thing, yeah.
I'm currently just
naming
saying
gags.
the movie.
I'll do some notes that aren't just gags. The Buddhist guy who looks like Harrison Ford. As a kid, I always thought it was Harrison Ford.
That's this thing, yeah. He looks just like.
It's not. It's actor David Leggetter, but it looks an awful lot like Harrison Ford.
What does he say when they offer him the leaflet? He says, "No, I'm already on." What does he?
He says, "I gave mine at the office."
That's it.
Because he's obviously donated to the office.
Yes.
The coffee couple, I believe, were a real couple.
Oh,
it's nice of them. And here's a great story that I got from one of the. I'd highly recommend the Airplane Blu-ray. Lots of great special features, including one where Peter Graves, Captain Over, talks about how he would get recognised an awful lot, and every time he would go on a plane, he would be asked, have you ever seen a grown man naked? Peter Graves being captain over. And he then, one time, was in a supermarket and saw a little boy looking up at him, and he was like, oh, I know what this guy knows me from. And he went to the little boy, do you like gladiator movies? And his mother grabbed the child and ran away. So
no.
I don't know what that story, and then he just ends the story.
One time I was in a supermarket checkout line, and ahead of me is a woman with her nice 12-year-old boy, but he's looking up at me like maybe he recognizes me from somewhere. And I just kind of leaned over to him and I said, do you like movies about gladiators, son? And his mother grabbed him by the collar and fled. So we were successul.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
Turkish prison, the best part.
Midnight Express.
What a great film! I love that. I love the Blu-ray because you get to see all the wires, and I think that adds to the charm. I think there is a certain charm to this film, a cheap charm that I think elevates it. Like obviously the gigantic pad in the knife man's back. You can just see all the wires. I think there's a beauty.
When she's spinning him round.
That's great. Yeah. See,
it's all part of it. Yeah, no, it adds to the charm.
So, 0 Hour casting the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar casting came about because in the original film 0 Hour, the co-pilot character was played by Crazy Legs Hirsch, who was a baseball player. And so they thought, okay, well, our character needs to be a sports star. And they originally wanted Pete Rose, but it was baseball season. And then, do you know who else they went to before Kareem?
I'd love to say OJ.
Unfortunately not. It was Caitlyn Jenner, then Bruce Jenner.
Oh.
Yeah. However, she chose to do the movie Can't Stop the Music, the Village People movie, which I think is a great choice. And we will most definitely do.
One of the Village People signed a contract saying he must always
It wasn't a contract, but he did demand that in most scenes he would have a woman on his arm because he was straight and everybody thought he was gay and his wife was getting quite annoyed. The Village People movie, great movie. The photo, there isn't Photoshop in 1980. They had to go to a surf shack and pay a surfer who was willing to dress up like a nun, and then they had to take that picture, and then they had to. There's no Photoshop. They care in this film. Jukebox guy. Why didn't he have a bigger career? Bearded pirate man.
Oh, the guy that did the Thriller dance.
Thriller? Staying Alive.
Oh no, but he looks like one of the zombies from Thriller.
He looks like a zombie from Thriller. Maybe that's why he didn't get. Well, maybe that was his career. Maybe he was in Thriller. Should we do a whole episode on the Thriller music video?
Let's do it.
It's a great music video. I would like to say it'd be a shorter episode, but I think in a way it'd be longer. Classified. I can't tell you that. I never got that as a kid. There's 2 jokes here that I never got. I just never understood the gag of he tells all the information and then she goes, when are you getting back? I can't say that's classified. Just never got it. And you know what else I didn't get? It's a different kind of flying altogether. It's a different kind of flying. Oh. I never got it as a kid. It took me a long time.
Oh, it's wonderful. I think that's one of my favourite gags as well.
It's a great gag. Pedophilia, I've just wrote down as a note. I mean, that's your point, isn't it? There is no way this film gets made now.
Oh, absolutely not.
Maybe some of the gags, but not a running gag of a pedophile captain.
The pilot.
I mean, it's excellent. Ethel Merman's cameo. We love Ethel Merman. You'll be swell. I didn't get that either as a kid because I didn't know who Ethel Merman was. I just thought, what? I vaguely know this song. Break down the horse. I think we've touched on that enough. Oh, stewardess, I speak jive.
Hey. Oh, stewardess, I speak jive.
Oh, good.
He said that he's in great pain and he wants to know if you can help him.
All right. Would you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine?
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
What it is, Big Mama? My mama raised no dummies. I duck a rap.
Cut me some slack, Jack.
Say cutting the
Chump don't want to help. Chump don't get the help.
Say can't hang, say 7-Up.
Jive ass dude don't got no brains anyhow.
That may be my runner-up for best single minutes. The Chump don't want no help, Chump don't get no help. Barbara Billingsley, who was known to Americans at the time as the mother from Leave It to Beaver.
Well, I was cast because I'd been June Cleaver. I'm sure that was the humor of the whole thing, that I talk jive. And I was sent the script, and I thought it was the craziest script I'd ever read. My husband said, I think it's funny. Well, my part wasn't written, really. It just said that I talk jive. I met the two black fellas that taught me jive, and they're the ones that wrote the jive talk. And we went to lunch, and we discussed this whole thing. Do you know there's even a book out about jive?
Famous TV mother. Just great. Yeah. The nun singing Respect. Got a big like that a lot. Yeah. And then the fake beard. You know the wind scene?
On the... Oh, yeah. Well, when he says, I'm just going to get a bit of air in.
Yeah. Did you notice the man with the gigantic beard in the back?
No, I thought you were talking about the plane that had a beard.
Oh, no. I'm now talking about, there's a guy in the background who's got a gigantic fake beard, and you'll notice it next time you watch it, because the original gag was the wind blew his beard off. But it didn't work. So it's just this guy who's got this massive fake beard. It gets me every time. Tom's big question. You said at the start, best spoof ever.
Yeah.
Is this the best comedy of all time?
I mean, currently, I'd like to say yes, unless you name something better. It's one of those things, I need to know something else and then compare it.
I don't think so. Oh, no, I don't think there is. I think this is the best comedy of all time. But a terrible way of phrasing it. There are films with comedic elements that I may even prefer, but I think this is the best comedy of all time. However, counterpoint.
I say, let
them crash. It's a very specific type of humor. It is a crowd pleaser if it's people who like this. My ex-girlfriend hated this style of comedy. Your current girlfriend, ironically the same woman, no, no, your current girlfriend admires it, but
doesn't like
actually
that kind
find
of
it
humor.
funny.
Yeah, I'd argue it's just because we're both intellectual people.
They just don't get it.
It's clever comedy.
But is it clever comedy? Or is it just very, very well made? Because it's no smarter. I'd say a smarter comedy. You'd go.
I think the best way to describe it, if you'll allow me to use a metaphor, think of another comedy that's just not as good, but it's still a fine comedy.
It's still a fine comedy, but isn't as good. Comedy.
Yeah.
Let's go for something I've got right in front of me. The next comedy I've got. I presume it's got to be something you've seen for your theory to work. Step Brothers. I've got Step Brothers down here.
That was going to be what I would use, but thank you very much for suggesting it. Step Brothers.
It's just because it's alphabetized and I'm in the S section, and it was either that or Sleepers. And Sleepers isn't a comedy. That's about 5 young boys getting raped. And then Robert De Niro lying. How did he get those baseball tickets? I don't get it. Anyway, we'll do sleepers episode.
That's for another day. Right. Step Brothers is an IKEA flat pack. Airplane is a well-crafted artisan sideboard. That's my analogy.
Right.
It's a very carefully constructed piece. Whereas Step Brothers, it's the same sort of modern comedy regurgitated again and again. Even though Step Brothers, probably a bad example for this because it is very original,
great.
but it's the care and attention as an artisan baker would put into his finest sourdough. Wow, I'm
going. No, I'm enjoying this. Synopsis. Oh, sorry, I should have mentioned this in What's the Change. Do you know, Will, who was originally proposed? Which singer was originally proposed to play the role of Ted Stryker? David Letterman screen tested for it, but which famous singer?
Let's go Neil Diamond.
It wasn't Neil Diamond. It was somebody. It's Jewish. It's another Jew.
I'm close. Barry
Manilow was the original casting idea. So that's my change. I love Robert Hayes in this film.
Put Barry Manilow in.
Barry Manilow in. This becomes one of my favourite films of all time, without a shadow of a doubt. Synopsis of a sequel. We got one, wasn't great. I think, if anything, a synopsis of a sequel, and they kind of did it with Naked Gun, is they should have done another sort of, taken another B movie and just filled it with jokes. And they kind of did that with Top Secret.
Another Airplane.
Yeah.
But then again, that you could kind of say, therefore, Naked Gun is a sequel because they're spoofing, but that's a follow-on from Police Squad. But yeah, no, I don't
understand the because on the commentary they basically said we were very resistant to making a sequel because we felt like we'd done every airport joke you could, but yet they did 6 episodes of Police Squad and 3 feature films of Naked Gun. So did they just think that there was more material there? I mean, I guess there is. The detective.
There's more room, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's you combined them.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally more room. Yeah. True.
I think they were limited by the fact that it was set in an airplane, or as I like to pronounce, aeroplane.
Well, that's why the second one's set on a space shuttle. Yeah, good idea. Jesus Christ. Closing line Hall of Fame. We've got the great after credit scene. I'll give him 5 extra minutes. It's pretty good. Don't know if it's topping the list anytime soon.
No.
It's a fine film.
But it finishes off the film well. It does it justice.
Well, so before we go to what's going to be on next week's episode, any final thoughts, Will, on this film that used to be your favourite, but now you've thrown under the bus and isn't even in your top 10?
Is it not? Oh no, it isn't.
No, it's not.
Not in my top.
This entire podcast was built around the fact that this is your favourite film, and now it's 37.
No, I can give you a fun fact to finish this off. Becky notified me. We were watching. Was it? All the captains, all the pilots have fish, don't they? And she's saying now a new rule is none of the pilots of a plane can eat the same meal.
Yeah.
Because of the movie Airplane. No, not. I wish.
I wish.
Let's just let's do a musicals.
I was thinking we could do a Sondheim fortnight, and it's not because they're the best film adaptations, but I think they're interesting.
And they're the majority film adaptation musicals.
Well, no, Rodgers and Hammerstein, you've got all 5, all 6.
Yeah,
if you count Flower Drum Song.
Are you counting West Side as Sondheim?
Well, they did the lyrics. I think what Sondheim fortnight would be West Side Story, Sweeney Todd. I could send you the link to the National Theatre Follies Elite. Ooh, the FBI are going to come after me. Because unfortunately, we are getting a Follies film, but soon. Well, not soon anymore. It's obviously halted production of 6 months or whatever it's been. Yeah, any final thoughts on Airplane?
I'd just encourage anyone who hasn't seen it to give it a go. No, don't give it a go. Watch it. I urge you to watch
That's
it.
what, give
It's
it a go.
fantastic.
Airplane is pretty excellent. I similarly, yeah, watch it, and then if you enjoy it, watch All the Naked Guns, and then watch Top Secret, and then and then watch Ghost. There you go. What's the main problem with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze's relationship in Ghost? What won't
Bruce
he
Willis.
do? Well, what won't he do?
He won't tell her that he loves her.
He won't. He just keeps saying.
He just says ditto.
And then at the end, she says it back, and there isn't a dry eye in the house.
Oh,
apart from mine. Ghost is not that great. Especially weird when Whoopi Goldberg kisses Demi Moore, Patrick Swayze's spirit in her or whatever. Yeah. Next week is we are having Becky on. For us, it's again, for you, kind viewer, it's for the first time, for a film that she adores, that I very much like, and you've as yet unseen.
I haven't seen it, no. I was one of the people who, when it first came out, refused to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The film is Schindler's List. It's very weird that you refuse to watch it. Well, no. It's La La Land. I very much like it. I think, it could have a trim, maybe. But we'll get to that next week. Really good film. Make you laugh, make you cry. Fun. Yeah, watched La La Land originally. Happily. Well, no, it was, yeah. Nah, it'll be great. It'd be great to watch a film about. Oh no, I can't say you haven't seen it. Oh, anyway, we'll get to that next week. Get your tissues ready. La La Land next week. Sign yourself off, Will.
I've been Will Leggetter. Good night and thank you.
I've ruined. We'll go again. Let's go again.
No, let's start again. Right. I've been Will Leggetter. Oh, we're doing yours now. And that's the show.
I'd just like to say, good luck. We're all counting on you. Surely you can be serious. Thomas Carruthers, William Leggetter, Airplane. Aye, Captain.
Dabba 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 da da ba 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 ba.